Hi, welcome back to Project Live Awake. My name is Jana Nixa. This channel is all about mastering your mindset, raising your vibe so that you can wake up to all that you truly are. So we are in the midst of another series here, and it's basically taming your inner world. We're talking a lot about thoughts. We're talking a lot about your inner roommate. I talked a lot about that in the last video, which I will link in the description below. So you might want to check that one out before you continue on this journey with me. But welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so hopefully you watched the previous video and what we're going to be talking about. So now that we've identified this voice, this chatty Cathy in your head, this inner roommate, as Michael Singer calls it, what are we supposed to do about it? Okay, now we see it. We see it for what it is. We see that it's got us going in all sorts of different directions. It never shuts up. It's always finding something to get angry about or have a problem about or talk about. And what are we supposed to do with this? So I think, we did talk last time about naming it and maybe even giving it a persona, like a cartoon character type thing, so that when it starts to go off in your head, you don't see it as you. You see it as not part of you. And that really helps so that you're not caught up in it. Because that is part of the meditation practice. And that's why they say watch your thoughts and do all of these things in meditation of being silently centered. We're practicing disassociating from that part of you. My biggest advice, once you really get to know it and you've really started to see it for what it is and how often it chimes in, is start to pay attention to the times and get curious. You have to maintain that objective awareness. And I like to think of it as, well, that's odd. I'm hearing this voice and is starting to really get upset about this. I wonder what it is that's really bothering this part of me. Because what we have to do is this inner voice, although some of the things that it just says are complete nonsense, but we do have to pay attention when there's emotional charge around it, like somebody made you angry or somebody wronged you in some way, somebody hurt you. And we really do need to pay attention then to what this is, because now it's no longer just this voice, right? There's an emotional charge attached to it. And what you start to feel, the more you're in the body, the more you do this breath work in meditation, is you can feel that emotional charge. We've all felt emotions in our body. We've all had a nervous stomach before, right? We've all felt those butterflies. So you're not completely disconnected from what I'm talking about. We just don't have a ton of practice with it because in our culture, it doesn't value it. But you really do want to start to pay attention now to what this is telling you. And from a completely objective, almost like hovering above it, sort of feeling about it. Because here's the thing, guys. There's no victims here. Even if in your voice is telling you that this person was wrong and they were mean to you and they did this, that, and the other, that's fine. That's their thing. Okay? What you have to look at is when these things start to bubble up and you get triggered, is from that objective point of view, that objective awareness, that seat of self, is really look at what is this trying to tell me. Because if we aren't triggered or provoked like that, then there's really nothing there to heal. But if the emotions start to bubble up, then that is an opportunity to look at that and be very curious. Why is it? What is it about that person that truly it gets me? Or what is it about what happened in this situation that has seriously just got me doing mental gymnastics in my head? What is it trying to tell me? What is it in me that's trying to signal me that, hey, this emotion is here. Let's look at it. Let's figure out where it's coming from. And let's find out maybe how we can have this opportunity to heal. Because so much of what we think is going on this outside world that affects us, and we're just on this victim roller coaster, is really truly stuff that's going on in here. We've all had that experience where there's been a situation and everybody's up in arms about it, but you're just not bothered by it for whatever reason. It's just not pulling at your heartstrings or triggering and angering you in the way that it may be somebody else. And that is just an example of, in that particular case, your emotions aren't triggered and bubbling up over this, but the person who is, that's their opportunity to look at some things and see what's truly going on for them. And what's so beautiful about this is we can stop trying endlessly to fix things in the outside world so that this doesn't ever happen. It's that whole, can everybody out there just act right so that I can be happy? And we are empowered to go within and heal whatever it is that maybe occurred in the outer world that has triggered us internally. And that is the key to healing. It's not to judge it, not to get upset that you're upset, because we all have these emotions, to look at these emotions from just a higher state of being, that seat of self, and saying, what here needs to come out? Why is this situation upsetting me so much? And if you can sit with that sort of inquisitive, just open mind during meditation, things will start to just come to the surface and you can just let them out. The only way out of these things is through. So much of the reason that we hurt is because we didn't hurt through it and walk through it the first time it happened to us in our life. Maybe we were young, maybe our parents said, there's no time for crying, pull it together. And we didn't have the opportunity to just feel what needed to be felt and release it. And so now we have all of these little bubbles of emotions and parts of us that hurt, that want to come up and out. And so when we are triggered by the outside world, a situation, a person, instead of getting mad and angry at them, once you have time to sit, just be curious about what that provoked in you and what maybe you can do for yourself to move on and to heal and to let go of that. The best way to sum it up, if you can just make part of your mantra, the universe or the world or my life isn't happening to me, it is happening for me. That shifts the energy, that shifts it into a place of, well, how can I grow here? How can I evolve? What is here for me to learn from this moment or to heal? And so that is what's so beautiful about continuing to separate yourself from this roommate, this person in there, and to let these emotions just come up and just look at them. You don't have to get wrapped up in them. We've all had those instances where we're totally wrapped up in anger and emotion and we say things we don't mean. And then later, once that charge is gone, we can see more clearly. And so that is what this is giving you the ability to do, is instead of react in that situation, is to just take it all in, evaluate it, and then you can respond as opposed to react. And I guess, really the last thing I want to say about this voice is it can find things wrong with everything. So we really just have to find a way to disassociate ourselves from it. And meditation is so amazing for that. So you really, when you are in the meditation where you're just doing an open awareness meditation and just watching what comes and goes in and out of your awareness, you really do, it gives you the ability to go beyond. You're not so up close and personal with all those emotions anymore. You're watching it like clouds just kind of moving through the sky with that distance between it. And I find myself now when I feel provoked or I feel an emotional charge or something is bubbling up for me around a certain situation, a lot of the things it's almost funny sometimes, some of the things that come up, the judgments that come up, the complete paranoid pieces that come up. And so you don't have to react to everything. But having said that, there is a big push in the spiritual community, I think, to just rise above it all. And yes, outwardly, yes, you're not going to control another person. You're just not going to control the outer world in that way. That is not our job. Who's to say that we know better than God? But your job is to not become a victim of your emotions. But if there is something more than just that chatter that really does have a charge to it, and it really does hurt you or anger, that's your opportunity to look at it. These are growing pains. This is how we grow. In the last video, I talked about the biggest reason that we're here is to be in joy, to create and to expand, but it's also to grow. And that comes sometimes with really having to do that inner work and look at what's really making you tick. Who is watching these thoughts? Start to tap into the being that's looking out of your eyes, that's seeing these thoughts, and begin to pay attention to that part of you. And the more you can connect with the watcher, the more grounded, centered, and generally happier you're going to be. Because you begin to see that these things in the outer world aren't part of your experience, not in the way we think it does. We're not victims. You can truly become a master of sitting in this seat of self and knowing what's important. I hope you all like this video. Please, if I left anything out that's not clear, feel free. Ask the questions in the comments below. I want to hear from you. I want to know how this is resonating for you. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like what you're hearing, and subscribe so that we can meditate live together. You can find out when my next video is coming out if you hit that notification bell. And as always, keep shining your light.